Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All three are gonna give you the Big D. Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All three are gonna give you the Big D. Chico, Rev, and Ben, yep, they're at it again. Breaking down the team, putting stats up in your head. Nothing left unsaid, they're leaving it all on the field. Just like the favorite team, raising 2 cups and with shield. The knowledge isn't real for a trio so true to representing the gray, red, white, and blue. And you love them too, that you can't deny. So just one time, let me hear Dallas till I die. Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All three are gonna give you the Big D. Chico's gonna give you what? Rev is gonna give you what? Ben is gonna give you what? All three are gonna give you the Big D. Soccer podcast? Huh.
Tonight on Big D After Dark, we break down the season opener for FC Dallas at home against the Colorado Rapids. A disappointing 0-0 draw. We also give off-season grades for FC Dallas's busy winter transfer window. And we hear from staff and players about expectations and areas to grow in this coming season. And we talk and predict and pontificate and have a good time. Thank you for joining us. Get ready to go live with us. Hey, and there we are. We are live. Let me check our sound levels here. I think we are a little live on the mics, but hey, everybody, welcome to our first Big D After Dark live show of the year. I see I have the wrong graphic pulled up, but that's all right. We're so glad that you are with us and that you have taken some time out of your day to join us as we have gathered here to talk and break down the latest FC Dallas action, off-season news. We got some clips, some hot off the press, somewhat hot off the press clips straight from coaches and players from FC Dallas. So it's going to be great to get to some of that stuff. But first, of course, I'm Nathan. You can follow me at Nathan J. Hill on Twitter. There in the middle is a good friend Ben Lyon at Bird Turgler on Twitter. And at the end is my buddy there, Jose Carmona at El Chico Carmona. And it was great. We had a nice time to refresh, cleanse the palate. But here we are. We're here to talk about FC Dallas in this new season. And a bonus thing is we're going to try to convert this to an audio podcast. So even if you can't make the live video extravaganza, you can catch it later when you're stuck in traffic somewhere or you're in the drive-thru to Whataburger to get that jalapeno double cheeseburger. So I see already got 9 viewers. Hey viewers, please put your comments in about FC Dallas, about the home opener against Colorado Rapids. Not the result we wanted, not the 3 points we wanted. What are your questions? What are your critiques of this team? What excited you about this team? What are you looking forward to? Post those in the comments. We will throw them up here in the live stream and try our best to get to them. So let's get right off in. And Ben, we'll start with you. And then Jose, give us your grade for this opening home draw against Colorado Rapids. Give us something positive, but give us something that has kept you up at night.
Let's start with Acosta taking all of the free kicks and corners. Please stop that. I mean, he's not that good at it. You got 2 guys that are, objectively better at taking those. And what's more, sometimes on a corner kick you'll get squirrely ball get cleared out, and a fast counter can happen a lot on a bad corner kick. Do you want Vargas or Ricarte back to be the last man defending, or do you want Acosta doing that? That doesn't seem like a particularly difficult decision to me. So I really hated that part of the game. I'd say it was about a B-. So, I mean, shutout. There were some good movements, some things that you could say were positive about it, but not what I was hoping for at all.
Jose.
Well, I'll give you my score first. I gave it a C+, and the reason my score is slightly lower than Ben's is simply because being a home game, you want to come out of there with 3 points, and knowing that FC Dallas has a long track record of winning their home openers also, it's underwhelming that it was a draw. Wow, I am somewhat satisfied with the draw, really, myself personally. That's just me setting up low expectations. But I think the defense looked great for the most part, and they're going to set the tone for this season, early part of the season. I think we all expected the attack to struggle. I mean, you got all new pieces there, and the one returning attacking piece in Hara. Let's just say we're not all that excited with what he's brought to the table. Mind you, he had his moments. He looked better than what we expected, but still, you have to admit that we expected more. And you have all these new attacking pieces. It's going to take a while for that to gel. So, I mean, I was hoping for a 1-0 win, that they'd figure out a way to get a goal. It didn't happen. So I think 0-0 is very satisfactory to a point. But the fact that it was a home game, you were hoping for 3 to start off the season. And, I do agree with what Ben said. We got to get those. We got to figure out who's going to be doing our sets and corners and get that figured out, because that's really a way for a team that's going to struggle on the attack while all their attacking pieces figure out how to communicate. That's really a way to overcome that, is through set pieces.
Well, I mean, and it looked like they did during the preseason, which, I mean, like, that was Ricarte and, not Acosta taking all those. I mean, Freddie Vargas had an assist off of one. Ricarte's looked good. And, I mean, like, I don't remember Acosta taking a free kick or a corner kick at all during the preseason. So it blew my mind that Brian Acosta was doing that. And, I mean, is that because he's a designated player? Are we going to have deference to designated players all season?
I just think my opinion on that is that we didn't really get to see a lot of the preseason behind-the-scenes stuff. And so we don't know if he was going with the hot hand for that week, whoever looked good doing it in practice or whatnot. But hopefully, as the media gets more behind the scenes, we'll won't be guessing on that going forward like we are early on.
Yeah, I assume that Acosta had maybe a good week of practice, and they just felt, and maybe too that Ricarte was the first sub off. Maybe he was a little gassed. Maybe he was dealing with something that week, just a little knock in practice. That would kind of preclude him from doing some of that extra duty. But there's a lot of questions. Now, I would say the positive of this game, Ben, as you mentioned, Jimmy Maurer was good to go. He looked in form, a leader. He looked like he's just going to be really solid again this season. John Nelson was the other spot at left back. I sort of hung my hat that they would keep Hollingshead at left and figure out a way to get somebody new on right, so you only have one position that's sort of newish. But Nelson was more dangerous at times than Hollingshead in this game, maybe because of the way Colorado played against them. But he was good. He was exciting to see, and probably lacked a little bit of quality in the final third. And maybe he'll grow into that. He'll gain some confidence there if he gets something going. But, that was kind of an interesting storyline. Overall, the defense did its job. it was the midfield that seemed not quite there. And I think that's always our critique. It's been our critique last season when this team has come out in a 3-4-3, what do we want to call it? A 5-2-2, I don't know, whatever. 5-2-3. That's it. All right, got to get my math right. But yeah, like they've always had this problem of sort of missing that extra midfield piece to get the ball forward to create problems for their opponent. So my only question would be, FC Dallas is known for starting strong. It doesn't matter what season we can go back to. They haven't lost a home opener in quite a while. So they start strong in the beginning of the season. It's that mid-season area where they begin to slump and struggle. Does this maybe mean they're going to shift that a little bit? They're going to build. They're going to start a little softer and build and avoid that mid-season slump? I don't know. I think we're still waiting to see as this team gels, right? Is that a silver lining we could take from this?
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, no, that was a lot to take in there. I don't know about silver lining at this point. Give me a win in San Jose this week, and we can start talking about silver linings. And Jose talked me into it. I'm not even going to go with like a C plus. I'm going to give it a flat C. We're supposed to win.
All right.
on opening day, and I think Colorado is going to be good this year. So it's not that bad.
I'm always so impressed by Colorado, by the extra attention they do to set pieces. They do some creative, tricky things that get their guys in position, and so
right, they have Jack Price to take them all the time, who is better than their next best player clearly, and so they don't bring in that next best player just because he had a good week at practice or because he makes more money.
Yeah, but no, I the silver lining to me was seeing the back five. They looked good. Colorado's like you said, they were most dangerous on set pieces, but otherwise I thought the back three looked really good. Really impressed with our new center back. He was the most vocal person out there, which was really impressed me. I mean, when they were setting up and everything, besides obviously hearing Jimmy telling people where to go, it was actually Martinez that was doing all the barking at everybody and really taking charge. I mean, one of the things we all love Matt, but he's never really been the vocal leader, So that really stood out to me that Martinez was back there, and you could actually see him yelling at Nelson whenever he had the ball at his feet. Martinez was barking orders at Nelson or whoever was in front of him, directing them, and then making some really gorgeous over-the-top passes with fairly good accuracy. So I think I could get used to seeing more of that. So that's my silver lining, is that the back three worked together really well, and Nelson and Hans had looked good, not great, but looked good also. So I was fairly happy with the back five and Maurer. It's the midfielders again, and the strikers, but hopefully that'll sort itself out a lot faster than it did last season.
Yeah, the question I'm going to take to Luchi, if I get a chance to ask it this week at the media session, will be about the subs. Only two substitutes. Paxton came on and Pepe came on.
Paxton's worth like two subs. So
yeah. Yeah.
Everyone was so excited to see him.
Yeah.
Carry on. You were saying.
Well, yeah, so I think it's one of the questions that we will say, like, why not put some other fresh bodies on? I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. So let's shift here, and we'll kind of continue that thread, and then sort of talk about the offseason. So I was able to be a part of the media session last Tuesday with Dan Hunt and with head coach Luchi Gonzalez of FC Dallas. I'm going to play a clip of the couple of questions I got to ask. So you're getting to see this here on on Big D After Dark, an exclusive, I guess you could say. And so it's about a 5-minute clip, y'all. Enjoy, and we'll talk. We'll talk some more after the 2 questions I ask are done. Hold on, I lost my screen. Thanks. A couple of questions, Coach. Great to be on with you. What are your expectations, especially in light of the selling of Brian Reynolds and Reggie Cannon and what that means for the club? But what are your expectations for the other young dynamic players on the squad this year, like Tanner Tesman and Paxton and Ricardo Pepi? Is it the kind of thing, I know fans are curious of, like, do you all sit down and work on goals together for the season of kind of what they want to do? Do they have input on that? Give us a sense of what those conversations are like.
So those are conversations we've had with those players and those families since they were young and in the academy. And so even though I'm in a position now that is with the first team, I don't change that approach. It's really important to me. And I said this earlier in this Zoom. I'm not afraid to lose players. I'm not afraid if that's what's right for the club and the player, and that's the development pathway for them. I'll be very proud of them. But I want this player to keep growing, to keep being challenged, to get games. If they're not getting games with the first team, are they getting games with the second team? Are they getting games with the academy? Are they getting the right stimulus and training? So we have a U23 coach, Chuy Vera, with our first team. So he does IDPs in collaboration with me, Chris Hayden, the academy director, and Eric Quill, the second team coach, and obviously all the academy coaches. So IDP stands for individual development plans that we have for all of our players. And we still have one for Pax. We still have one for Tanner, of course, he's young. These guys are really important for our roster to keep growing, to be productive young men and hopefully win trophies for FC Dallas. But in that process, again, if there's a transfer like what happened with Brian Reynolds, I couldn't be more proud, and we're not afraid of that.
Thank you for that. Oh, and going into this first game of the season, what is your sense of where the squad is with position battles? Is everything pretty settled, or do you still feel like there's some positions where we're going to see, like maybe at outside back, some fluctuation, Hollingshead, Munjoma, Nelson, other guys like that competing for minutes?
Yeah, you saw the addition of Jose. Jose's immediately made a really positive impact of the quality of play with and without the ball. He's not afraid to defend a high line. He can deal with speed, good in the air, very good directing and teammates in the field, controlling the last line. And then with the ball, a lot of quality to play out of different presses, and he's left-footed, and he can carry it on a dribble. He can pass, so he can combine. Really good addition there. So I think we have, Brisson got more opportunities last year, especially in the postseason. So we have really good competition there at center back. And Kosi's maturing more, a player that we drafted. Outside back, yes, if you saw our preseason lineups, you see the things we've been testing, and with Ryan on either side, Eddie Munjoma on either side, Johnny on the left. So creating options there. Emma Tomasi has now recently been cleared and training fully, so he's another option we're looking at the outside back, wing back position. In the midfield, like I said, I know we lost Thiago, but we have a player like Edwin who's had a fantastic preseason, is ready to go now in the season. Brian Acosta, I believe it's been his best preseason since he's been in the club, and that's process. It's time adapting. And Andres Ricarte, Tanner Testman, really important for us. He was recently integrated along with Azus from the U23s. So good competition in the midfield. Paxton is getting his rhythm back, his fitness back, and his confidence back. So he's an option in the interior positions. On the wings, you have Khalil, who's, a player that is really young, but definitely ready to impact the league and take his steps, and shown some really positive things. His verticality, combination play, scores. So that's really good depth there on the wing with Freddie, with O'Brien. Dante is a young player that's also taking his steps, maturing. Paxton can play on a wing. Benny we signed recently. Sean would be coming in next month or so. So I think the wing position is really exciting with depth. And at the 9, I mean, as a coach, I couldn't be happier with our options at 9. I know one is injured right now, but we've got 2 other really high quality 9s that are ready to take care of business. So I like our depth. We're still going to look at options maybe in the summer if we need to add a piece or 2, but I think we have the team to compete right away for the goals.
Good stuff there. Good stuff for us to think about. As we think about the offseason for FC Dallas, you hear Luchi there talking about the young guys, not being afraid to let people go, as we saw with both Reggie departing last season and Brian Reynolds, and also a veteran guy, Thiago, also kind of a late transfer departure. But quite a few new faces in the mix in this roster, starting with Martinez, and you see the way the position battles are kind of looking. I think Luchi spoke with some good energy there about a variety of the options that he feels pretty good about what's at play. So, guys, Jose, we'll start with you this time, and then Ben, just how would you grade the offseason for FC Dallas so far from what you've seen?
For me, I think when you take into consideration how much was lost, I mean, you're talking about Reynolds, Santos, Barrios, Pacalt. That's 4 starters right there. People that were regular starters for this team, and then some of the depth pieces that were lost. I mean, Rito was also a starter. Let's not forget about that. So that's 5 starters. I'd give it a solid B+ with a potential to improve, simply because it went from replacing a couple of pieces to it almost felt like a rebuild. I mean, let's face it. We're now looking at a completely new different formation being employed than what was employed last season. So it does feel like basically Luchi may have gone up to them and said, "Hey, I need to bring in my own people for what I want to do," and I mean, you saw from the wings. From Vargas and O'Brien, they did really well coming back and helping on defense. Let's not forget that was an issue for Barrios. I mean, don't get me wrong, Barrios worked hard, but he wasn't really a great defender. And that could also be an issue on the left side, depending on who was starting, depending on who the starter was that week. So that wasn't a very consistent thing. And I'm hearing that the kid we're getting from Hungary is also basically one of the best, if not the best, wing defender coming out of his league. That's one of his strengths. So it seems to me that the best thing about all this turnover is that we can say this is going to be more Luchi's team than what it was the last couple of years, where he was playing with some of the remaining players from Papi, and he was basically the academy kids could say those were his guys. But now it's like this season, it's more and more Luchi's team, and so I think I'm kind of excited for for the new signings. I see the potential there. Now the question is, can they deliver on that potential? And so it's an incomplete grade, I would say. I give it, like I said, a B+ with the potential to be better.
Ben, anything there that Luchi said that jumped out at you?
As far as having a plan, and the Brian Acosta thing still bothers me. It still really bothers me, because that's it's great that he can defend and be a conductor for the team, but I still just like not feeling the vibes with him taking offensive set pieces. Like, we got guys for that. I am excited about the wingers. They had the 2 best chances that challenged Yarborough this weekend, even though there was a couple that Hara should have buried. He can't I mean, when Chewy gets back, if he's still doing this crap, he's got to ride the pine. We got to ship him off. Because honestly, I think now that Zanota has got his feet underneath him, I have a 100% trust in him finding a good replacement for Hara. Like, just say the word and it's done. Like the wingers, the defender's good. I'm excited about this Shone kid. He looks pretty interesting. I mean, like, I give the offseason grade an A because the wingers didn't do much for us last year, and I am totally confident the wingers are going to do a lot more for us this year. Like, just by dint of good numbers. Like, I feel like there's 3 wingers that will provide more assists and more goals than what we had last year. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but they sure look like they're going to increase on some very, very modest production last year, at the very least. So I give it an A. Let's let Zanota go make some more moves and get rid of Hara.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you wonder if an offer had come in for Hara, if not like Thiago, if the team would have said okay, I mean, you don't turn down a chance as good as Santos was, and maybe he would have helped out on Saturday with his presence there in the midfield. But when an aging, a 30-something midfielder who's only gonna kind of decline a bit, as he goes, you get a chance to make profit on a sale. I think you take it. Any day of the week. So yeah, it's been an interesting offseason in that way. I think the acquisitions have all been really targeted to fill needs, and they've gone after people that they've wanted. I'm sure not everybody that they've been interested in has been available, but they've gone after some good guys with profiles. With Vargas and Obrian are coming up. They have reputations. They have a track record. This isn't a diamond in the rough kind of guy. And Martinez too has a pretty good pedigree too, and a good bit of experience. And I've just been impressed with him. So we're gonna watch a little clip from him too, and get a feel for what Martinez brings. And I'm just really inspired by the guy because he really. You could tell his English is a work in progress, but he gives it a good try. So here's a question from I think Raya Turner to Martinez.
I just wanted to know, what is something you want to work on personally to help you and the team this season?
Wow. Muchas cosas, a lot of things, but I don't know. I think that the physical aspect is important in this league, and I try to improve this. I work hard every day after the trainings for improve my physical, but I don't know. I think that I have confidence. I can help to the team. O sea, puedo ayudar al equipo, ya no solo con el físico cuando lo coja, sino con otros aspectos que son también importantes en esta liga y que me pueden hacer ser importante para el equipo. Sorry for my English.
Right at the end right there, he just said that I think the first important thing for him is the physical part. And once he gets that physical part down for him, he will be able to help different aspects that he wants to achieve there. But number one important thing for him right now is just the physicality of him being fit and him getting that physical stamina ready for the season.
Good stuff. I just appreciated his energy and in the whole interview time, even though my Spanish is very, very poor, and so I didn't really understand what the rest was being asked. there, but you could just get his sense of energy, his leadership, but his awareness too that Major League Soccer is a physical league and is going to demand kind of his best if he's going to adapt and help this team thrive. Right?
Yeah, he showed good enthusiasm there, where you have some players that are up there. You can tell they don't look very comfortable being, asked questions or even being up there. You could tell that he really wanted to be there. He just didn't quite have it in him to communicate exactly what he wanted to say. But you could see that enthusiasm there, that energy, and that's good to see. Here's a guy who, as his English gets better, I think we'll be hearing more and more from him.
Yeah, no, I mean, most of the interviews and outtakes I've seen with him, he seems to be, very gregarious and charismatic person. So, he fits in perfectly as a replacement for Redo. He's, aside from taking penalty kicks, he looks like he's going to be an improvement, at least upon 2020 Redo.
Mm-hmm. And I just imagine that's been the challenge this season. I know Luchi talked about a little bit in the other segments of his media session of just how last year it seemed to him like they were mostly doing recovery work because there were most weeks had 2 games a week. There wasn't a lot of time to really train, to work on tactics together and gel, and so and I don't know if that was just kind of a way for him to frame kind of the result last, but some of the down results last season. But you could tell that the team didn't have the greatest chemistry at times last season, and it was a weird with the restart and the pandemic and everything. So the hope too is that with the longer preseason, with a good trip, with some good trips and good time, and we're going to hear about that in a minute, that the team is on their way, but still there's an adjustment for Vargas, for Obrian, for Martinez to this league. MLS is different. So let's just continue on this clip run because we're going to hear Jimmy Maurer talk about that now with a good question from our friend John Arnold.
To little tips about certain players, right? Like you've been playing in MLS, you've seen these guys, their tendencies that they like to cut on the left or right. Maybe a guy like Jose doesn't quite know that. How much of that is kind of sharing tips and tricks? And he said he's been doing a lot of film study as well. But what do you try and communicate to guys about individual players?
Yeah, for sure. It's at the end of the day, it's all professional soccer, and then guys that are here for a reason. But it is, like you said, it's the little details. It's, hey, watch this guy, he likes to cut inside, this guy likes to go outside, watch for this guy, he goes down easy, so be careful how tight we're gonna get to him around the box. You give this guy space, no, this guy needs to be tight. And even things, I think one of the big things is it's like every league around the world, there's just unique things to it with the way the league operates and the way the refs call a game. Part of it is, hey, careful, that could be a dangerous tackle in this league. We can't take those risks. That maybe that was fine where you're coming from, but that might be a red card. We can't risk that. Little things like that, even just how the refs call the game can be really different from country to country. So it's just trying to give those little details, but at the end of the day, it's more about how we want to play in our tactics and our systems. And the guys have been adapting great and adapting quickly. So, we'll just keep taking it week by week, day at a time.
We'll leave it there. Actually, I forgot I cut out the part where he talked about the team didn't do a lot of traveling, but they did do like a stay in a hotel in Dallas, sort of a local stay, and they got out on the golf course and they just tried to build some camaraderie and things like that. So it's exciting to see, but it's also shows the professionalism at work and also just those learning curves that even we fans don't think about. We just think you bring a guy in and you just say, go score goals. But the way the refs call games are different, the way the league works, the way travel works, there's the way, the different players, different tactics that you have to face. It just is a different league, right?
Different surfaces.
Different surfaces. different weather.
Domes.
Yeah, like
altitude.
Yeah, I think American fans, or North American, maybe even more broadly, just really take for granted sometimes that a guy who has success in Europe or it's just the same, and it's just not the same. This league is different. It's just a different league. And by the way, we should have had one goal on Saturday, because I don't know why that penalty kick wasn't called against Hara. I just don't understand. But that's also the frustration. Yeah, it's the frustration of this league sometimes. Calls aren't going to go your way. Why? I don't know.
You would think they would go your way at home, but that doesn't seem to be the case with FCD. I mean, that'd be the case in Seattle or one of the other obnoxious teams. They'd get that call, but it just doesn't seem to go that way consistently for FC Dallas at home.
Atlanta, Austin Austin's going to be obnoxious.
Yeah. Still, it would have been nice to get that call, but let's face it, we all just kind of rolled our eyes and go, yeah, they're not even going to bother reviewing that. Let's move on, complain about it later.
Yeah. It's the mystery of this league, and it's where we are sometimes, and it's what you let go. Now, certainly, I'm sure that happens in every league to some degree. There's missed calls, there's missed opportunities and things, but I don't know, that seemed as clear as any I've seen in a while. So, anyway, so disappointed with that 0-0 draw, but excited about this group of guys, about this squad, about their potential to grow, and to see I think, Jose, you made a good point. This is beginning to look more like a crew that Luchi has had a hand in. Some pieces that he's excited to work with and to get his ideas imparted into so that they can produce on the field. And so we'll see how this work progresses. So let's turn our attention then as we get ready to close the show. We'll usually try to keep the show 30 to 45 minutes, maybe a little more if we have extra guest with us. Let's talk about San Jose. San Jose traveled to Houston and lost that game 2-1. Of course, San Jose, there were rumors about them losing their coach over the offseason. Some chatter about that, but he decided to stay. They play different. They play a man-marking style all over the field, which leads to chaos, but also leads to some exciting soccer. And so Dallas is going to roll into San Jose for the first away match of the season. What are your expectations out of this game, and can you give us a prediction? Ben, you go first.
So, one thing I've noticed about San Jose since Almeida took over is they tend to start the season out pretty rough. They don't have necessarily the conditioning to do what they want to do with their man marking scheme, and once you get them pulled apart, they give up a lot of really high quality chances. And I mean that was the case with Houston this week. I mean, I know the score finished 2-1, but that one goal, I don't know if you saw it, was instant goal of the year candidate, like by a backup defender. So it was not like a high probability chance that they scored. I mean, Houston looked considerably better than they did for the vast majority of the game, and I'm going to say that Dallas is going to score 1 to 2 goals. Or actually, scratch that. Let's say they score 1 to 3 goals, but they're not going to get to 3 goals unless Hara scores 1, which I don't think he will. Because the thing with their man marking is, he's going to be easy for them to mark out of a game because he's slow. He doesn't separate well from marking, but the wings do. So I expect them to get some. I expect them to get some service, some easy chances, and Freddie and Hader O'Brien will combine for 2 goals in some form or fashion. So, give me another 2-1 with 2 for FC Dallas and 1 for San Jose.
Oh wow! All right, Jose.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch the Houston San Jose match, but I have seen Houston play in the preseason, and they looked really bad the few times I did see them. So, I mean, I think here's the one thing that I look forward to this season as opposed to last season is you don't have the 2 matches a week, which gives the teams a chance to actually game plan and prepare, a whole week for their next opponent. So I think it will be a 2-0 FC Dallas, but it'll be late. It'll be very chaotic, and it'll have to do more with fitness. I guess like Ben pointed out, San Jose's style of play, it takes a ton of energy and a ton of fitness that you simply don't have early in the season. And with where this match, 3 months from now, I have to give you a different prediction. But being this early, I think we're catching San Jose at the right time. And I have more faith in Hara than Ben does. I mean, I think Hara got into some good positions this past weekend that we're not really giving him credit for. He did get his head on a couple of balls. He did get some positioning in there, better than we had seen from him. Not good enough still, but enough for me to say, yeah, I think if you're gonna man mark him 1-on-1, I think that he's a nasty enough player that he's gonna get off a clean shot sooner or later. And San Jose plays a style that I think a guy like Hara will actually have a better shot at doing well in this early, especially when it comes to conditioning. So, yeah, I'd say give me a 2-0. Hara gets one of the goals, and then one of the subs will come in and get the other goal, be it Pepe or Paxton. With, of course, I think our wingers probably won't score, but I think they will get the assist. Each one will get an assist on the goal. They're more Ricarte.
Well, I love your enthusiasm. I'm sticking with probably a draw. I think a draw would be a 1-1 draw would be a nice first away trip that I would be happy with. But
I think a draw on the road is a great result no matter how you slice it. I think Ben and I are both hedging our bets on the fact that San Jose struggles early in the season with this system, as opposed to, otherwise a draw would be, like I said, a great result.
Yeah, no, and I take a win any day of the week, and so I just want to see this team build and grow, and so I hope we can come back and say, well, we saw more positives this week, and we're beginning to see what Luchi wants out of this team. I just hope they put those building blocks in place. But you're right, could really benefit FC Dallas this week. Could be a really beneficial matchup this early in the season. Well, we're going to leave it there tonight. We want to thank everybody for joining us, all of our viewers. At our high point, we had like 14 viewers. It was great to have you all with us. Right now we have 7, so whoever you are, next week, we'll be back every Monday night at 9 p.m. Central. Excuse me. And then we want your comments, though. We want you to put your questions in and shape the direction of the show. We will take them live. We will hit them as we go and talk about the things that you hear and you want to learn about the team. And look for some more video clips from the media session this coming week as I try to find out a little bit more and give us something to think about as we celebrate our beloved FC Dallas squad and this 2021 Major League Soccer season. And we didn't get to talk about North Texas tonight. But I think we'll save that. Their season begins this weekend as well, so we'll have plenty of soccer action to think about and to talk about next Monday night. Okay, Ben and Jose, welcome to 2021. It's good to see you, my friends.
Good to see you.
Likewise.
All right, thank you all.
Looking forward to this season.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody. Good night.
Good night.